All right, so let's assemble this machinist clamp. So that was an English part, so I'm going to do an English assembly, standard assembly, create. Then I'll go to place my parts, and I open up to it. Actually, did I? Machinist clamp. Here we go. Okay, jaw 1. I'll bring jaw 1 in as my base. Let's make that the I'm going to rotate this. I'm going to rotate my Z axis. Let's see, rotate the Z, rotate it again. Let's do it this way. This will work. This will work. Okay, I have it laying on the ground there. Oh, it didn't take, did it? Okay, let's do it again. Place, draw 1, open. Okay, rotate Z 90. Is that right? Yeah, I'm all confused just from the orthographic. And I'll place grounded at the origin. Okay. And that's good. Okay. So, yeah, I'll have it. I kind of like it laying flat like that. So let's pull in the rest of it. Jaw 2. Open. And I'm going to rotate my Z again. I'm going to do it again. And then do it again. So it's facing this direction. So put that right there. Okay. Bring in our screws, pilot screw, open, and I'm going to rotate the Z that way. Okay, and then place component, bring in the regular screw, open and rotate my Z, rotate it again, so it's going in that direction. And I'll bring in my pins. Put one here, one here. Okay. So first off, I'm going to start with doing an insert between the pilot screw and this base part to constrain, and I'll just do a basic mate between these axes. Right there. Okay, apply. Let me just check something here. It is in fact on there. Now I'm going to, I should have made this one grounded, but that's okay. I'm going to put a mate between, let me pull this away so I can see. We'll do it. Let's do an axis mate between here and here. Apply that. Let me pull this away because I want to be able to look in there. I got all kinds of this. I just did some weird stuff there. But anyway, I want to get a mate between this bottom surface here and the bottom of the hole here. Can't really see that, so let me pull this away even more. And do it. Well, let's just go ahead and do the mate. Let's start off the first one. Do a mate between this surface and I do a free rotate here and get in there so I can see it. There we go. Okay. And that surface right there. There we go. We got it. Apply that. All right. Now, now I'm going to do a mate. Hold on a second. Let me just pull this in here. Oh, that one's, yeah, there we go. It's going to be kind of weird. I'm going to do a mate with this guy over here. Between that axis and this axis. Apply, and then I'll do another one between this axis and this axis. Alright. Apply. So now everything should be lined up. Let me take a look at it. We're all good. This one, of course, doesn't move because it's grounded. Okay. Now I want to put a, I'm going to place this pin inside of this hole, and this could be tricky. So let's constrain, see I can't, okay, so let's constrain this and that, apply that. Now what's weird here is that we're going to have a problem with like, okay, let me center that. If I spin that around, right now it's not going anywhere, but I'll show you later. It could be an issue. Now we're going to put a mate between the pin and that hole right there. Apply. And let's move that into there. Okay. So what we can do at this point is just basically position it, you know, and set it up for our assembly drawing, which is perfectly fine. You know? And I will say this. Assembly one, machine's coming. Okay. Yeah, it's perfectly fine to do that. If you want to go an extra step and try to mess around with, first off, if you want to center this, let's look at that. The way I built the drawings, the parts, if you built them the same way I built them, then this shouldn't be an issue. If you go to the pilot screw, this is a pilot screw, right? And you go to the origin, you can see my XY plane is there. And if you look at the pin, I built the pin so that there would also be a plane dead center. So if I look at this origin, we got right there, that XY plane. Okay. If you don't have that XY plane, you're going to have to go back into the pin drawing and place a work plane in there. Now, what I'll do is I'll put a mate constraint between the XY plane here and the XY plane there. I'll apply that. Okay, it doesn't like that, so let me edit the relationship. I'll change that and apply that, and that worked. Okay, so now this thing's not going anywhere. Okay, so we have these constrained together. Again, good enough for an assembly drawing. If you really want to play with it, and I'm not an expert at motion by any stretch of the imagination, but what little I do know you can do with this, we can put some rotation on it. If we do a constraint and in motion, we have rotation and we have rotation translation. I'm going to start with rotation translation. First off, let me look at what we got here. I want the screw to rotate as it moves. So let's give that a shot. I'll do a rotation translation, and I'll pick this axis here, and then I will pick, let's pick this part right here, apply that and see if that does anything for me. So there we go. If I move this up and down, I get the screw will rotate. Now I want this to work with it, because obviously this is going to be, involved with these threads here. If this moves, then the threads will move. So I'm going to do another constraint, another motion constraint, where I put just a rotation constraint between this axis and this axis. I'll apply that, it works. So now when I move this, I get them both moving. Okay, now you want to be careful with this. It's really difficult, because like if you try to do it like that, you run the chance of throwing everything out of whack like that, because we don't have the limits in for how far it can travel, or contact resolution. Like if I were to put a contact set on these between the two parts. Okay, I have contact sets on there. Let me try to resolve that, and it never works for me. Inspect. It also eats up, if you hit your activate contact solver, it eats up your hard drive. And that isn't even moving now. It won't even move for me. Oh, there we go. Okay, see, it stops it from going beyond that. You notice my my rotation stopped working. So yeah. So I'm just going to turn that off. But experiment with it by all means, and have a good time. Okay, there you go.